Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Fathers of Taste with your two delectable hosts, Eli, and your other host, Moses.
Yummers.
And today, we, the fathers, are bringing you an album that is considered a classic among classics. And today's album that we will be reviewing is Rage Against the Machine by Rage Against the Machine. It's their self-titled album, of course. One of the most culturally impactful albums of all time and across any genre. Very progressive, very, very revolutionary this album is. It shaped and paved the way for a lot of different artistry to come about around this time. This album is from 1992, I believe. So definitely probably the definition of, a classic album. And it's also timeless, lyrics-wise. So we're going to dive into that today. So, Moses, we are diving into Rage Against... We're diving into Rage Against the Machine today, right? Mm-hmm. So, what did this album mean to you beforehand? Before we get into any tracks, like when you went through this album and you listened to it, how did you feel about the album? It's 10 songs, 53 minutes. How did you feel about this album?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was very, very surprised with what this album was. You hear the name Rage Against the Machine. I'm not too familiar with the songs, so I guess this expectation was on me. But I don't know. I expected an album of hooting and hollering, kind of we
gotta figure it
out. Our favorite hooting and hollering.
That's gonna come up on another episode at some point, guys. We're gonna review that song, but spoiler alert, it's a funny one, bro. All right, yeah, go ahead.
But so that's what I expected out of this. Was called hard rock in here, but I was thinking it was gonna be some hard rock metal, almost obnoxious. There are some heavy metal songs I'm into, but some of them can be a little bit obnoxious just because they're so loud, and it feels like it's just a lot of noise. So that's what I was kind of worried that this was going to be, but it is in the Apple Music Top 100 Best Albums, which this will be the first album from that list that we'll cover, and we have plans to cover all of them at some point. This is kind of starting off that journey of that playlist, and I do think it does. I get it. I get the appeal. I get why it's so high, because it is absolutely not what I was expecting content-wise.
As did I. I honestly do believe that Apple did do a service when they created this top 100 albums list of all time. They definitely did a service, because I believe that was the way that I found this album, was through Apple's top 100 albums. And like Moses said before, we will be covering the top 100, Apple Music's top 100 albums at some point. So, maybe later on down the road in the podcast. We do expect this to be a very long-lasting podcast. There's so much music in the world, and there's so many different genres, subgenres of music that, this podcast could run on until we're 90. Until we're 90. We have so many albums and so much music to talk about. So this is our first step towards Apple's, 100 albums of all time, as Moses said before. With that, we will begin to get into the album. The first track of the album is called Bombtrack. And funny enough, it lives up to the name for me. This was a very fiery way to start off the album, if you ask me personally. From the instrumental just to, the instrumental to everything. And he literally says in the song, he has a line in there where he's just fuck manifest destiny. Mm-hmm. And I'm just oh man, we're about to get into some deep shit on this album. I already know. As soon as he said "fuck Manifest Destiny," I'm like, that's basically like what the American dream is like Manifest Destiny. It's like the whole scope of like what America was built on was like Manifest Destiny. You know, that's been a phrase that's been passed down through time and time and time again. So when he said that, I was like, all right, yeah, we're definitely about to get into some shit here with this album. And Bombtrack, like I said, it started off, it was very fiery. And in the song, he's literally like, burn, burn, yes, you're gonna burn. Like, he's bringing it out, like the fury and the flames. Like he said, you're gonna burn, there's fury there, it's anger, it's hot, there's flames there, it's gonna burn, it's a bomb track. Like, this was the way that he decided to start the album off. And Zach De La Rocha, or De La Roca, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name. Mm-hmm. Excuse me if I butchered it. But he's always had a thing in his music for lyrics. And, you know, that's a thing that I'm a big sucker for. This one was a great way to start the album. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful way for me to start the album. It was like a beautiful chaos mixture. And that's what I felt about it. A bit repetitive, but it is a hard rock album. So with like hard rock / metal, repetitiveness usually is the name of the game. And that's usually the formula of, you know, these typical genres. So, you know, I couldn't really complain about the repetitiveness for this, because that's just what the genre is in and of itself, and that's kind of what comes with it. Mm-hmm. So I gave the lyrics an A, I gave the instrumental an S, I gave the production an A, and I gave the vibes an A. Like I said, this song as an intro was all around encompassing to me, and like I said, he had some lines in there that stood out very heavily and resonated with me well, and it kind of drew me into the album. Honestly, out of all of the intro songs that we've done, right, Moses, this is probably like the second best one so far. The first one was the first place one, and that still holds first place for me, is Mycelium Eyes from the If Nevermore episode with Suburban's album. That one still reigns supreme to me, but this one is second place in terms of intro tracks for me. I did really like it, and it engaged me to listen to the rest of the album. Mm-hmm.
I think everything for me here is an A, except for the lyrics. The lyrics I gave a B. This one lyrically is not as like focused as some of the other songs that we'll get to later are for me. I love like the vibe, like the dun 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 dun. I love like what we're doing musically. I think it is quite repetitive, and I just feel like there's less focus lyrically here for me than especially like some other songs that we'll get to pretty soon. But I mean, besides that, like, I love the way it sounds. I really like the vocal performance too. Like that burn, burn, yes, you're gonna burn. I do really like it. Pretty strong way to start off the album. I would probably agree with putting it in between, what was it, City Walls and Mycelium Eyes for like second place. I think it's
you just completely forgot about Bully.
Man, King.
It is what it is.
King is fourth place. It's last place every time we add an album.
It is what it is.
What it is, bro. No, I mean, yeah. King is fine, but it's nowhere near the other songs. Like, City Walls is still close to Bombtrack, that it's close to King, for me at least.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I basically agree with everything you're saying. I think I was a little lower on some aspects than you were, but I mean, overall, I do really like the rock sound here. It's just maybe like the repetitive lyrics might have hurt me like a little bit lyric wise, but you know what?
Because I mean, yeah, technically we did agree to give like repetitive songs like a B for lyrics.
Well, it depends, because it just depends on like what's being said. Again, for me, this just felt more like generic. Like I did like the "fuck Manifest Destiny" line, but like besides that, there weren't like any other lyrics that like pulled me in, like on that deep of a level. Especially like I was saying, there are other songs that do it better, and I'll make sure to give them their due diligence when we get there. But this one, what was here outside of like the repetitiveness, just didn't latch me on too much. Again, not bad. It's just a B for me.
You didn't like landlords and power whores on my people? They took turns. Landlords and power whores on my people. They took turns.
But that's 2 lines though, in a 5-minute song, or 4-minute song actually.
Dispute the suits. I ignite and then watch them burn.
There's better lyrics. I'll get to the. I'll get to the ones I love.
That's fair. That's fair. I could agree with that wholly. Yeah, honestly, like I said, I know that we did like set like a precedent on this podcast, and the precedent was that most of the repetitive songs were gonna get like a B, depending on what was being said. So I did kind of step out of the mode a little bit with this one, but only because I cherish this song a little bit more than I typically would with those other repetitive songs that we've mentioned in the past.
Right.
So maybe I could just be a little bit higher up on lyrics just simply because of that. But there were some things that he said in this song that I did really like that pushed to give me the A for this one. Now, let's be real. It is a low grade A, but it's still an A regardless. It's a lower grade A, but it is an A regardless.
Yeah, that's fair.
Our next track here, one of my favorites on the album, and we were talking a little bit before the podcast, and Moses said I might be disappointed in what he may or may not have to say about this song. I'm kind of worried about what he'll say about this song because this might be like my number 2 favorite. It's fighting for first, I believe, with one other song that we'll talk about later on in the album. But this is one of my favorite songs off of it, and it's called "Killing in the Name." And "Killing in the Name" is probably the most mainstream song on this album by far in terms of what like stats on Apple Music. This
Facts.
Is like the only song that they have like a circle next to, and the songs that they have circles next to are like the songs that people, I believe, either add to their likes or like listen to the most.
Yeah.
And this one has the dot next to it to show that this is like the song that people listen to the most. But just because it's mainstream, or just because it's more mainstream than the other songs typically on the album, doesn't mean that it's a better song than the other songs that are on the album.
Right.
So whatever he has to say is, in all fairness, this is an opinionated podcast. So we like what we like, and we don't like what we don't like. And that'll be it for that. But this song here is one of my favorites off of this album. And it's just something about that instrumental that just hits me really hard. The lines of the song, that's basically the chorus where he's like, "Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses." And you're like, whoa. I'm like, yo, he's about to, like, yeah. We told you Bombtrack, when he said "fuck Manifest Destiny," he was going to get into some shit. But when we got to the second track, I didn't expect that to be the contents of what we were speaking about before. Like, this whole project is very progressive, if you will, in terms of the space of rioting and trying to give the people, the American citizens, the power against the government, and they rage against the machine. Essentially, that's their whole not necessarily gimmick, that's their whole MO, if you will. And this song was one of those that did it for me. And he said, another one of the lines in here that I really loved, he was like, those who died are justified for wearing the badge, they're the chosen whites. And I was just like, yeah, this album is we're definitely going to get into the deep end with this one. For sure, because I was like, yo, this album gets into some stuff. And basically, like, they get into, they try to control you. You like, now you do what they tell you because now you're scared of the policemen. And now you're doing everything that they're telling you to do. And sometimes it might not be lawful. Sometimes it's deep. This song also goes along the lines of repetitive. It is a repetitive song, but the lyrics and the meaning and the things that they have behind them, the many various situations that we've seen throughout our lifetime, it made the song resonate a little bit deeper to me. For Killing in the Name Of, my ratings for it would be an A for the lyrics. I gave an S for the instrumental. I gave an S for the production. And I gave an S for the vibes. Now, like I said, typically I try not to give S's unless I feel it's extremely warranted. But I feel like for me, this track warranted it. I loved everything about it. The instrumental, I love the instrumental. I love the production, and I loved the vibe. Like, I vibe with this song, like, and I'm always singing with it. So it makes me like, as soon as he hits that, oh, I'm just like, yeah, we're in there, like, killing in the name of. I'm just like, oh my, like this is fire. Like, I every time I hear it, I vibe with it instantly. Like, if it comes up on my playlist, like, I'll listen to it all the way through, and then I'll click back and replay the song one more time, and then I'll go to the next song. Like, it's one of those for me. But yeah, I really do appreciate this song. That's a nice one.
Well, Eli.
Oh, man.
Sorry to do this to you, my guy.
Oh, man.
But,
be careful what verbiage you're using when referring to this album. This is a very...
Don't worry, I won't desecrate this too harsh.
I don't
it's
know.
actually funny.
Desecrate.
I think
said desecrate.
I think my rating actually would actually scare you quite a bit. It's it's all A's.
Oh, it's all A's. Oh, he said it'll kind of scare you.
Yeah, like boo scare. No. I do really like this song. Yeah, I gave everything an A here. I do production, like the rock, the sound of it. I like the vocal performance as well. I did give the lyrics an A. I was kind of like teeter-tattering between like A and B.
Understandably so.
Just because it is more like repetitive, like in terms of like different lines saying different things. You're just kind of getting like the same like lines over and over. But this is one where, as opposed to Bombtrack, where the lyrics that were there didn't like impact me as much, this is like the complete like opposite, where I don't mind that it's repetitive because I really like the lines. Like, I really like what we're saying. Like, I mean, you basically broke down like all of like the lyrics already. So, I mean, all I really got to say is just ditto. I really love the chorus. I love like the repetition. This was like one of those songs that kind of eased me into like what this album was really going to be, and which dictated early why I was so like surprised with the album, because I was not expecting it to be so progressive. Like, when I was like looking into like the songs, because some of the songs I was like looking into like lyrics and stuff and seeing like why they were, I'd read that like this song basically came in the wake of like the Rodney King police brutality case that happened in LA. Like, this was like a song that was like directly like inspired by that event, and I was just surprised of how like progressive this album is. This is like metal, like Green Day. It's weird. Very like politically relevant. And something you said earlier was that it's kind of timeless in its messages, and I'm like, damn, like that's such a good point. These issues that these guys are singing about now, and like these messages that they're trying to give to like the American people, are still important to this day. So it's actually kind of crazy to listen to this album in 2026 for the first time. And still those like progressive rock messages are still like they're still relevant, which is insane. So yeah, I do really like this song. I don't really have anything negative to say about it, besides it being a bit repetitive, but again, I don't mind it too much. It just means I won't rate it too high, but nothing about this is like a B. Like, I still think everything here is great.
Personally, like I said, this album was huge for me, bro. This album was huge. And like I said, this song, you did scare me a little bit. I was thinking you were about to be like, nah, this is like the worst song I've ever heard in my life. But I was like, no, Moses didn't like it. You didn't like this one? This one specifically here? Oh, no. But no, that did surprise me though. From how you were talking about it to how you just rated it, I was like, oh man, this man is about to be like he hates this song, bro.
No, I feel like you're a little higher on it as me, is why I was saying that stuff. But I do still like enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, this song is one of those that I feel like, you know, although in and of its repetitive nature, like I said, this is a prime example of a song that is repetitive, but the repeated lyrics are so good that you can't help but to be like, all right, this like, you got to give this an A for lyrics through the relevance of it. It, like I said, this is transcended through time. This album came out in 1992. We're now in 2026. This is, 34 years later?
Mm-hmm.
And it's still relevant to this day. Like, there's somebody who is 34 years old. This album is the same age as they are, and the messages throughout this album are still relevant to this day now in 2026, which is why I like the album. Funny enough, I believe Apple put out their top 100. What was that? Was that 2024 or 25 when they did that?
I feel like it was 24. It feels like it would have been like a little while.
I feel like it was a while ago. I feel like it was a while back where Apple first dropped their top 100 albums. So we'll say 2024. We're not necessarily too sure, but I think it was 2024. So me listening to that album for the first time in 2024, and I'm like, the message is still relevant to this day. And then having Moses hear it for the first time 2 years later, when things are probably, or when things are arguably worse now in 2026 than they were 2 years ago, this album probably hits even harder now. And I'm kind of jealous of Moses that he got to listen to this album for the first time ever, like now at this exact point in time, because now I feel like the impact of it is even more now than it once was. But yeah, so that's it for Killing in the Name. Like I said, it's one of my favorite songs off of this album. It's fighting for the one spot. It's between that and, like I said, another track we'll talk about later. The next track that we have here is called Take the Power Back. This one, all right, so we did say how the first two songs were repetitive, and that was kind of a criticism. But, you know, the entire genre of hard rock and, like, hard rock / metal, they are typically repetitive. This song, I don't have that critique. I don't have the critique of it being too repetitive. There was actually a lot of different things that he said in this song that still pertain to this day. Like I said, this album just in and of itself feels timeless. It is widely regarded as a classic through music buffs and music heads. Usually people who deem themselves to be heavily into music have heard this album, and everybody kind of feels like, you know, it's a timeless album. But this one, Take the Power Back, was definitely heavier in lyrical structure. For sure, definitely a huge difference in the repetitiveness that we heard in the first two tracks. So for this song, to Take the Power Back, I gave it an S for the lyrics. I gave it an A for the instrumental. I gave it an S for production, and I gave it an A for the vibes. So for lyrics, why am I giving this song an S? I'm glad you asked. The first line of the song, he literally states, "In the right light, study becomes insight, but the system that dissed us teaches us to read and write. So-called facts are fraud. They want us to allege and pledge and bow down to their God. Lost the culture lost." Like this whole first verse has so many different deep points that each point you could pick at and delve deep into it, and you're like, yo, this is like some hefty stuff that they're talking about, and within this album. That's not it. That's the only lines. That's not even the only lines. He goes through. He said, "See through the red, white, and blue disguise. With lecture, I puncture the structure of lies." I'm just like, yo, he's going off right now. Like, these lyrics, like, this is the thing that Zach does very well. The lyrics, like I said, from the other two songs may have been repetitive, but they're impactful in their own way. But this one puts a completely different narrative on this album, and it spins the lyrics in a way where it's poetic. It makes you think about it, and you really think about it. And all of the stuff that I found out outside of what we learned on the lesson plans, and what I actually learned about America, and what I actually learned about deeper rooted things that happen in America and that are happening in America, from comparatively to what we learned from them lesson plans, what I actually know and what actually happened is like two separate things. Mm-hmm. It gets deep, especially when you actually pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, the song is elite. I'm not gonna lie to you. Lyrically, this is a beauty. This is a beauty, bro. Yeah, I really love that red, white, and blue disguise line you said earlier. I know you like went through like the first two verses, and then like even like later on, like with like the other verse, like it keeps going. You got like one-sided stories, or holes in our spirit causing tears and fears. One-sided stories for years and years. I'm inferior. Who's inferior? Yeah, we need to check the interior of the system. Who cares about only one culture? And that is why we got to take the power back. Yeah, this is a phenomenal like lyric song, bro. He said motherfuck Uncle Sam, bro.
legit motherfuck Uncle Sam, bro. I'm like, he came straight out and said it. There was one line that I forgot that I found really funny and satirical, and it sat with me. It sat well too, and he was like, let me see. It was like three lines actually that all coincide with each other. But basically, he said the complacent students sit and listen to that bullshit that he learned in school. Europe ain't my rope to swing on. Can't learn a thing from it, yet we hang from it. I was like, ooh, bye. I'm like, yo, he's talking right now. And then he even follows it up with, yet we hang. So he's like, yet we hang from it to expose and close the doors on those who try to strangle and mangle the truth, because the circle of hatred continues unless we react. We got to take the power back. I was like, yo, wow. He was just talking about what I was talking about before. The lesson plans that we learn in school of what they want us to learn about America and what America actually is. Two totally different realities. And sometimes they do coincide with each other, because sometimes it is the truth, but it's kind of like most of it is taken away because they don't really want us to know the truth about like America and what actually happens behind the scenes.
It's some great stuff. So yeah, obviously the lyrics get an S. I think production I'll give an S too. I think there's some very like interesting switches in this song. I think I like the way that it's like mixed up. Because a lot of these are like over 4 minute long songs, so it's nice for like some of these to do something like a little interesting where they switch things up and like keep it feeling like fresh throughout that long kind of like duration. I feel like this one does that pretty well. So I gave
I was about to say, yeah, they did that pretty well.
Yeah, I did like it in this one. So yeah, I gave an S for that. Vibes and beat, I might give both A's here.
So we're like looking back at each other in the mirror, looking at me, looking at you, looking at me.
Yeah. And he looks at me. And I look at him.
No, R. Kelly.
No, that was... Oh, yeah, that is R. Kelly. When I said it...
No, we on Fathers of Taste do not support R. Kelly.
Some fathers might, but as a whole, Fathers of Taste does not represent R. Kelly. No, I was actually I was thinking of Weird Al. Weird Al's like cover of it when he's at the drive-thru, but I think that's technically she, because I think the person that he's talking to is a woman in the drive-thru, so it's like she looks at me and or something like that. I can't remember. Or no, maybe it was a guy.
I think I know what you're talking about. Bro.
But yeah, that was what I was thinking, and then I forgot that it was a cover of R. Kelly. I was thinking of the Weird Al version.
Yo,
that's hilarious. But yeah, I do love this song. I don't really have any other notes from it. It's great.
It is a good track. It's a very well written song. I can't lie. So, our song number 4. Crazy how we're almost already halfway through this album, and it's, in my opinion, still going strong. But this fourth one is called "Settle for Nothing." And this is the song that is competing for first on my list.
Oh, really?
It's between this, Settle for Nothing, and Killing in the Name are the 2 songs right now that's fighting for first place song on this album for me personally. Settle for Nothing? Yo, Settle for Nothing, my goodness. Before we go through the first verse. He opens the song talking about a jail cell is freedom. A jail cell is freedom from the pain of my home. The cell is freedom from the pain in his home. Hatred passed on, and passed on. A world of violent rage, but it's one that I could recognize, having never seen the color of my father's eyes. I was like, oh, brother, this one is hitting pretty deep. This is going for something. He's going for something right now. Like we said, we had the complaint of them being a little repetitive, but this one here is fighting hard. Just solely off the lyrics is enough for me to say this is my favorite track on the album. But Killing in the Name of I like so much that it kind of does something for me. So it's like, I don't know, I'm still debating on which of the 2 should be my favorite. But this one with lyrics, he just comes in and it's deep. And after that he's like, yes, I dwell in hell, but it's a hell that I can grip. I tried to grip my family, but I slipped to escape from the pain. And in existence mundane, I got a 9, a sign, a set, and now I got a name. I was like, oh my goodness. He's like, I got a gun that they provided me. I got a sign of me protesting. I got a set like I'm a gang member. And now I have my name because of those 3 things. And I was like, this is incredible writing, bro. Like, this is like a definition of a song that's an S for lyrics for me, hands down, non-negotiable, non-debatable. So for this song, I gave it an S for the lyrics, and I gave it A's for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this song sat with me so heavy lyrically. It sat with me. You know, funny enough, one of the favorite lines that I texted you, I texted this line to you from the song, like just one random morning because I was thinking about it. But he's just like, the line though, I gotta tell you the line before it though, so you could get the full scope of it. But he's like, no one's here to catch me when I fall. And he's just like, death is on my side, suicide. I was like, yo. He's writing right now, and this is the transition into like the heavy metal. It's hard hitting. The band is playing hard. He's screaming like these are the lyrics that he's screaming like, and like all around the whole entire song was just produced well. Let's change that production from an A to an S. This song was heavy. I liked everything about this song. The lyrics, the instrumental, the production, and I vibe to this song heavily. This song is just a great song. That's exactly why like I'm having the fight between Killing in the Name of and this song, because this song has better lyrics than that song, but I feel like Killing in the Name of has the better instrumental between the two. I feel like they are both really good on production. I feel like they're both equal on production, so they're kind of tied up there. And I feel like they're fairly similar in vibes. Like an S to an A is not that like big of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But like for me, like these songs are really close. They're neck and neck. But honestly, I might have to just give this one the slight edge, just simply off of the lyrics. This song was amazing.
You know what? You make a pretty compelling argument. So Initially, I had all A's here, but hearing you, like, really emphasize, like, those lyrics and what you, like, really like, you know what? I can buy into the S there, because I don't know. I guess, like, when I heard this song for the first time, the lyrics just didn't grab me. They just didn't really, like, grip me on, like, a first listen. But then you just kind of, like, going through, like, really emphasizing it, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting, like, the story here. I'm understanding a lot more. And, yeah, I really see what he's doing here. So I think that definitely deserves like a pretty high tier rating. Everything else, I had as an A as well. This song is very, very Nirvana to me. When it's like slow, like the down, 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 and then when it goes to like that heavy part you were talking about, where it's like da 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 da. Yeah, it gave me like a lot of like Nirvana vibes, and Kurt Cobain was very like dark with like some of his like songs and instrumentals at times, and this felt like a pretty dark metal, which fits the lyrics very well. So I mean, everything coming together here is actually pretty phenomenal. Actually, I might change the vibes to S. I might actually give the vibes an S as well, because I think everything comes together so well. Like it's such a dark song, dark lyrics, but it still has like a energy. Not a whole lot of other things to say here, but yeah, this one is really good. I can see why it's one of your favorites.
This one, I was like, yo, no, it's not the best way when I fall. I was like, yo, he's spazzing right now. Like, yo, this is, and when they said hard rock, Moses, you know, me and you had this conversation the other day, because the next album that we're going to present to y'all is supposedly metal. But to me, this album feels like metal. Like everything about it goes like you get the screamo, you get the band instrumentals, you get the deep guitars, you get all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me feel like it's not hard rock.
Yeah, putting hard rock, because we'll get to that other album later, but I do feel like both of these should be like metal. I think they're kind of like two different shades of metal to me personally, but this one being hard rock does feel weird. It feels weird.
I'm like, you know, this feels like what I feel like the definition of what metal is. But I guess maybe there's a difference in the contents of what metal is as opposed to the contents of hard rock. So maybe that discrepancy maybe comes in there. So maybe it's a hard rock album because of the content that they're speaking about as opposed to metal, which might have different contents. I'm not too sure. But to me, though, anytime I think like screamo rock, I feel like screamo rock is metal. Personally, like when I think of metal, I think screamo, screaming. We'll let you guys be the judge of that. When you hear it, you'll know. If you know, if you don't, then it is what it is. But yeah, Settle for Nothing is a good one. Personally, I liked it. Like I said, this is one of my favorite songs on this album. Between that and Killing in the Name is fighting for first, for me personally. So, the next song, the midway point, we are now officially halfway through the album. Bullet in the Head is the next song. This one, personally, it's not as good to me as Settle for Nothing, lyric-wise. Well, as the song entirely isn't as good to me as Settle for Nothing. For Bullet in the Head, I gave the lyrics an A because there are some things in here that he said. Like, there's lines like, nothing proper about your propaganda. Fools follow rules when the set commands you. Said it was blue when the blood was red. Oh, I just realized too, Moses. Oh my gosh. Another piece that takes me back to Settle for Nothing. When he said, I got a 9 assign a set. Mm-hmm. A set also like a gang set, but also like a set as in like Democrat versus Republican, like red and blue. Like Democrat versus Republican, red and blue. Crips versus Blood, red and blue. Like, yo, like they were, yeah, this album, bro, he was writing this album. Lyrics across the board are good. Yeah, and then he said, when the set, you fools follow the rules when the set commands you. Said it was blue when the blood was red, and that's how you got a bullet blasted through your head. A bullet blasted through your head with the 9 that he had in the previous song. Now, they do connect to each other. I do think these two songs connect to each other, Settle for Nothing and Bullet in the Head. I just don't like it as much as I like Settle for Nothing. So I gave it an A for lyrics. I gave it a B for the instrumental. I gave it an A for production. And I gave it a B for the vibes. But there were a lot of lines in here that I did like. When he said, we're just victims of the in-house drive-by. They say jump, you say how high. Like, it's just lyrics throughout this song. There was a few that I really did like throughout this song. That's what made me give it an A. But as far as the instrumental, I didn't rock with it too heavy as I like Settle for Nothing and Take the Power Back. And I gave both of those A's. So I didn't like that as much as those two. So I gave it a B for the instrumental. That was just my reasoning for giving it a B because I didn't like it as much as the previous two. Mm-hmm. The production was an A. It sounds good. It sounds like a good song. I gave it a vibe for B because I just don't rock with it like the same way I rocked with the previous 4. So I just gave it a B there too.
Interesting, man. That's crazy that you don't fuck with this lyrically like that.
Well, no, I like the lyrics. I gave it an A. I just don't think it's S-worthy.
Oh,
I don't think it's S-worthy, though.
I think it's S-worthy. I gave this an
S. All right, so look, granted, I could be persuaded to give it an S, right? Mm-hmm. But I personally feel like Settle for Nothing is better lyrically by far. Like, I personally don't think they're on the same level of lyricism. Like, if you understand what I'm saying. I think they are.
I feel like they are. Saying two completely different things.
I could be persuaded. Let me hear your take on it. And if you shout anything out that maybe I liked and found similar, I could be compelled to give it an S, and I will change it in my official record book.
Okay, get ready for some S tier glazing then. All right. Okay, I'll start with everything else first. The production I did give an S as well, but not the production. I gave the instrumental an S as well, but honestly, I could probably bump that down. It's just like that like it's mostly like that down 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 down. Yeah, that part. I do really like that part. I think everything is kind of like an A. You know, I think instrumental could be an A too. He's not really doing too much vocally wise. It's kind of like tame. So vibes and production, I gave A's. There's nothing like crazy going on. I just think it's like pretty good. It fits like the tone of the song pretty well. Yeah, I love these lyrics because there's so much. Like, there's so many things that he's talking about in terms of what is putting that bullet in your head. It's not only, like, propaganda. It's, like, commercialization and, like, corporations. But, so you're, like, basically you're getting, like, attacked by, like, 3 different things. You're getting attacked by government propaganda. You're getting attacked by greedy corporations. And you're getting attacked by your screens, your devices, your phone, your TV.
Well, technically, there might be a 4th one, because depending on the community you're in, you could be getting attacked within your own community, too. So, you didn't say that. I said that, but that may or may not compel me. I need a little bit more convincing, though.
So you took it, you were talking about, like, having, like, the 9, like, they packed the 9, and, like, from when you were describing it, it seemed like you took it, yeah, more like keeping it, like, along, like, the similar lines of, like, the gun, like, the 9 from Settle for Nothing. The reason why I didn't bring getting, like, physically shot up is because, essentially, for me, this song is mostly talking about how everything is weaponized, like, against you, like, the propaganda you hear, the corporations that you buy stuff from, like all like your devotion to products, materialization, even like your cell phone, your screens, like that line of, hold on, let me go back to it. Said they packed a 9, they fire it at prime time. To me, that's like prime time television. Their gun is loaded at you.
I saw that line too, and I was gonna say something about it. So because you brought that up, and I was also thinking about it, like, metaphysically, too. Like, not just physical, but it was also, like, both physical and metaphysical at the same time. You have convinced me, you have compelled me to change it in my official record book from an A to an S. I will grant it that, because you've given me multiple reasons as to why I should, and there are a good bit of lyrics in here that I really did enjoy. And then now that I think about it, though, we kind of go back to like the 2 repetitive songs that I gave an A to, and this one is definitely more lyrical than those 2. So yeah, I could settle for giving the S. I could give out the S for this one.
Yeah,
I try not to give them out too often, but where it's warranted, definitely warranted.
Yeah, for me, it's like the reason why I feel so strongly about giving it an S is because like it's not what he's talking about, because you know there's all sorts of songs that are like, oh, like technology and corporations are like the death of society, like things like that. It's a pretty common message. I mean, it is good to hear in a song because it's pretty like progressive. Not too many people do that, but if it was just that, like on the surface, just being like yeah, you're just buying the products they're selling you, like you're believing all the lies that they're telling you, that on its own is just like, okay, yeah, sure. But it's like that visceral imagery of those being bullets that these entities are shooting into your head to make you brain dead, to make you just like a slave to the system. That bullet is like what makes it so integral to me, and it's like, damn, like he's really painting the picture that like you buying into like this like capitalist world is literally killing like your brain chemistry. It kind of reminds me of like some songs that we heard from If Nevermore, like Mycelium Eyes and Fingernails, where it's like a visceral, physical display of lyricism that it like ties to something like deep and metaphorical. So I think that's why it really struck a chord with me.
There is one song that it does kind of remind me of, and that one is it might make it to the podcast because Moses hasn't heard this album, but there's a song off this album called Hypochondria by Breakins called 5G, where he literally does the same. He kind of gives off the same message, but in a different way though, and it's a different style. It's called hyperpop. Basically, some of the lyrics that he had in there also, like, kind of directly tied, like, to the destruction of humanity through these, devices and different things. And in that song, he said they laid waste to a new biome to make a case for the new iPhone. And I was like, oof. And he's like, the same thing. He's like, they're farming our attention for bucks. Like, are we people? Like, basically using our phone screens, using the 5G connection to buy into our brain. So it's like basically that same message, but it's being spread across like two different styles of music. We'll get to that one later on. Yeah, that understanding in the message and how you present it, like, yeah, you said before, you could give us that bass lyrics all day, but if it's visceral energy or imagery, as you said before, well, also visceral energy, yeah. If it's also give visceral energy too, it delivers differently.
Yeah, it's crazy because this is 1992 too.
It is 1992. It is 1992. I just realized that. That's 34 years ago, bro. And they're talking about like topics and stuff like this. Like you said, like we said before, this album for the time that it came out is extremely progressive. It's extremely progressive. Probably one of the most progressive albums we've seen at this time, and that's why it's highly regarded the way that it is, because they're speaking about this stuff at this time.
This shit ahead of its time, bro. It's crazy.
Ahead of its time and timeless. One and the same. Beautiful. So yeah, Moses convinced me to change that to an S. I said on here, I try not to give out S's too heavily if something is well warranted, but he has convinced me that it is well warranted, to put the S for lyrics for this song, because there is so many different metaphors, both physically and metaphysically. So with those elements are definitely strong enough to give it an S.
The glaze worked.
Yeah, it did work. It did work, definitely. I thought about it, and then I thought about it some more, and I was like, there should be no reason why I don't give the lyrics an S for this. There's no reason.
Yeah, Bullet ended up being one of my favorite ones, mostly because of the lyrics. I was like, damn, that hits hard, man. I say as I'm looking at an iPad and my little Chromebook.
Yeah, as you're looking at an iPad, the Chromebook, and your phone.
My phone.
It's like, all right, you're absolutely correct.
I have like a background playing on my TV too, man.
He's like, man.
I got the bullet, bro.
Right on the head.
I got the bullet, bro.
You got the bullet. Several of them in your vicinity.
Many men. Many men.
Where'd that poem be? So our next song, this is song number 6. This song is called Know Your Enemy. And yes, you should know your enemy. Because if you don't, how do you know what you're supposed to be fighting against? What's the phrase? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
If you stand for nothing, Burr, what do you fall for? That's from Hamilton, by the way.
I'm just like, oh, we might have to put some Hamilton on this podcast.
Dude,
I'm not gonna lie.
I love Hamilton.
Definitely,
I love Hamilton.
But that's a long track list. That might even be a longer track list than a specific album that we have for some reason Moses is dreading listening to, and I'm not too sure why.
It'll be the longest album I've ever listened to.
It's by a very well-renowned artist. His artistry knows no bounds. When we get to that album, I want to be really excited to see what his reactions is going to be. And hopefully he regrets dreading listening to the album after he listens to it, because to me personally, it's just that good. And it was the first time that I listened to that specific album from front to back, and I found new songs that I liked on top of the ones that I already previously liked before. So, you know, hopefully he finds some things within that album that speak to him.
It's like listening to a musical version of Lord of the Rings.
Fritz, no, come on.
Fritz has been trying to get me to listen to he's been trying to get me to watch Lord of the Rings for so long, but like I dread watching those just because like they're over 3 hours long. It's not that I hate Lord of the Rings. It's just it's so long that it's like, I mean,
it is.
The anticipation is just like, oh God.
I read the novels.
I read the first one.
I read the novels. The novels are long as hell.
Yeah. I'm surprised I even got
But the thing is, though, guess what? They're not as long as Harry Potter novels.
I semi-read those. We ain't got to
And
talk
I
about that.
read practically all of those up until I don't think I read The Cursed Child yet.
Oh, that newest one that came out.
Yeah, that's the newest one. I haven't touched that one yet. I need to. I really want to read that one. But yeah, I haven't touched that yet. But comparing that to Lord of the Rings is insane.
It'll be the longest album I've ever listened to.
Come on, bro. Like, insane, bro. Like, I get it. I get it. It is a pretty lengthy album. But if you think about it, albums back in the day were even longer than that one, with less songs.
I didn't listen to albums back in the day. There's only a select amount of albums that I've actually heard fully.
Alright, so think about it like this, right? This album is 10 songs and 53 minutes. Mm-hmm. Imagine if they decided, you think about it, right? That's a rate of, that's 5 minutes, like 5 minutes and some change per song. Imagine if they just decided to add another 5 songs.
Yikes.
Like, that's basically all that album is, except it's like there's some short songs and there's some long songs. It just mixes up the length between the two. Yeah, you shouldn't dread it, bro. It's good. It doesn't even feel like that time is gone by, like, once you finish listening to it.
All I'm saying is, looking at that track list feels like reading a novel. There's like chapters and shit. There's chapters.
But you can't dread it that much, bro.
I'm more so just scared. Maybe
you can't
dread's
judge the album by its track list.
Maybe dread's not the right
judging
word.
A book by its cover.
I'm scared. I'm scared to listen to it because I'm like, holy cow, this thing is like behemoth.
It is, but it's well worth every bit.
Well,
every minute of it is well worth it.
We'll get there soon.
When we get to that, I need you to know that it's good stuff. You need to get on that. So we're on Know Your Enemy. Yes, Know Your Enemy is where we're at. And yes, you must know your enemy. Because like you said, if you stand for something, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. This is a good track. There are some lines in here that he does say, that I did like. One of them was fight the war, fuck the norm. Because, they all have, we have a system, a confined system that we live in through social media, through our TV screens. The same issues that we were talking about in Bullet in the Head is the same issue that we're talking about in Know Your Enemy. And he's basically just saying, he's trying to give a big, like, fuck you to the system. He's trying to give a big fuck you to the system of America and how they confine us and change things and how things are and are not supposed to be. This song, I didn't have much to say about Know Your Enemy. I just gave it a A for lyrics. I gave it a A for the instrumental. I gave it an A for the production, and I gave it a B for the vibes. And that might come as a surprise, because kind of like the end of it, I gave it an A because he was like, he said, yes, I know my enemies. They're the teachers who taught me to fight me. And what he meant by that was like fight his people, fight his culture, renounce your culture, get rid of it. You don't need your culture anymore. Your culture doesn't mean anything. But he said compromise, conformity, assimilation, submission, ignorance, hypocrisy, brutality, the elite, and he says all of which are American dreams. And he says that repeatedly to get it into your brain that these terms are the American dream. And these terms are how you get to the top if you want to be in America. These are the way that these things go. If you're trying to make it to the top of the ladder.
This one, yeah, I mean, this is just a really fun one. I think everything I'll give an A. Yeah, I mean, the finger to the land of the chains. What, the land of the free? Whoever told you that is your enemy? Bro, yeah. There's some good lines in this.
It is some good lines in there. That's what I'm saying. I can't be too mad at it. There's some good lines in there. I gave it an A just because of there's some good stuff in there.
There's some really good stuff. This one might have the most upbeat, not upbeat maybe, but like this one might have the most energy. Like I really like the rock in this one. It's like very fast paced. Yeah, I guess there really isn't too much to talk about this one, but it is one I do like a lot for sure. I guess it is a little weird because it comes on later in the album, and at this point we've gotten already such like high highs that this one doesn't necessarily match.
Yeah, it doesn't hit as hard.
Maybe like if we didn't have like Settle for Nothing, Bullet, like some of those other ones, then maybe this would be a little bit higher up. But I think overall it's not a bad track. It definitely deserves its stay in here. It just doesn't have the high highs like some of the other ones do. But that's okay.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing. When we talk about it, like Killing in the Name, Take the Power Back, Settle for Nothing, Bullet in Your Head, like those set a pretty high precedent for whatever came after it.
Yeah.
So that run from Killing in the Name to Bullet in Your Head, everything fire. And then you got this song that comes right after it, and you're like, yo, you're on a high from the last, 4?
Yeah.
So Killing in the Name, Take the Power Back, Settle for Nothing, and Bullet in Your Head. You got all 4 of those. And then you got Know Your Enemy, and you're like, yeah, it is a solid song. But, it kind of takes you off of that high of the 4 that you just listened to previously.
Know Your Enemy got dealt a bad hand.
It is good. It's a good song. It's just those 4 just set such a high bar. It's nothing really much to say about Know Your Enemy, but we're on to our next one. Our next song is called Wake Up. That is literally the title. It's Wake Up. So y'all better not be sleeping when y'all listen to this song, because this here, Wake Up has some good lyrics. I can't lie. Wake Up has some good lyrics, bro. Because all these punks got bullets in their heads from the last song, from Bullet in the Head. We get a call back. This is basically a storytelling album, but I can't prove it. I can't prove it. But there's so many callbacks to other songs previously that it's like, yo, it may or may not be a storytelling album. It's kind of like the same thing that we had with If Nevermore with Suburban. Like, we were trying to see, we don't know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, we don't know. But yeah, he said, because all these punks got bullets in their heads. Departments of police, the judges, the feds, networks at work, keeping people calm. You know they went after King when he spoke out on Vietnam. He turned the power to the have-nots. And then came the shot. I was like, oh, whoa, relax.
Relax.
Like, relax, sir. You don't gotta hit us. You don't gotta hit us like that. You preaching right now, but relax a little bit. I was just like, all right, we getting into he's dragging us into the deep waters right now, and this is definitely a lyrical upgrade from Know Your Enemy. So I gave this an S for lyrics.
Wow.
And I gave it A's for everything else.
I don't really have a lot to say here. This kind of just came and went for me. Not in like a bad way. I mean, everything I would give probably A's. I don't know. This was just
one. I stick and move like I was Cassius.
Yeah.
That's... You know who Cassius is?
Brother, ain't that yeah, that was the boxer, right? It was Cash. I know Cash. What the fuck?
You don't know Cassius Clay?
Yeah, isn't that Muhammad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Moses, don't do this to me right now.
No.
He's like, yeah, I know him. Yeah. Whole time he's like, in his head, I was like, I don't think I know him.
Googling it right now.
Yo.
That information went out when the bullet hit. Nah, I'm playing. But, dude, I love bullet in the head, bro.
Like, that's from the bullets in your head. Taking it out your memory.
No, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of history. I mean, like, yes, there is the Cassius line. He said King pretty early on. He even says Malcolm X before he goes to, like, that, I think I heard a shot, like, where he, like, repeats that a bit. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I like other songs lyrically better than this one. I can't,
that's fair.
Personally, I can't put this one as high as the other ones.
That's fair.
I could see why you like it a lot, though. It's nothing in the song is bad. It's just this one didn't exactly gravitate me, which again it could just be because of the highs of the other songs. So maybe Know Your Enemy and Wake Up took a little bit of a unnecessary hit, but yeah, I don't really have too much to say for this one.
That's fair. I mean, yeah. Like you said, when you set the precedent that high with those first four songs, well, not the first four, but the first four after Bombtrack, you set it up like that. Well, even with Bombtrack, those first 5 songs set a really high standard for the rest of the album. So, like, when you are trying to compare, and you're comparing, it's like almost comparing, like, trying to compare apples to oranges.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, the first 5 songs gave me an extremely high, but these other songs might take a hit because I don't feel as highly on them as I feel about the beginning. So, I can understand that. But Wake Up, for me, like I said, I had to give it an S because, he brought up a bunch of historical figures. There's a lot of history behind it, and there's a lot of meaning behind the lyrics that allowed me to say, you know what, I'm going to put it on par with the other S-tier songs that we have in the lineup. So our next song number 8, is called it's just called Fistful of Steel. But in the song, he says, a fist full of steel. Yo, a fistful of steel. Yo, this one, I do like it, bro. I do like it. I honestly think Fistful of Steel is also going back to talking about that 9. Yeah, I think he's talking about the 9. And I'll be like, calm down with the Jamal with the 9.
I was just thinking about that. Don't pull out the 9.
The amount of 9s that have like been mentioned across this album is like, yo, bro got a whole artillery just full of 9s. Like, bro's artillery is pretty hefty. The 9 must be his favorite because you know, everything else, like, he's just, like, out the window with everything else. The
Bro
9 is where it's at.
Bro is the opposite of Kurt Cobain, whereas Kurt Cobain was like, no, I don't have a gun. This guy's like, yeah, I got a fucking 9 on me, bro.
He's like, I got a sign, or what did he say? I got a 9, a sign that said it. No, I got a 9. I was like, yo, this man is going off with these 9s, bro. I'm like, my goodness, bro. So with a fistful of steel, I gave an S for lyrics.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. As well as him talking about a 9, he also has a 44. So he has a bunch of 9s, right? He has like 5 9s, so that's 45. So he has the 44 and the 45. It's insane,
Some
bro.
ghetto ass Sesame Street, bro.
Yeah.
Zach has 3 9s.
It's like the 44 and the 44 full of bullets and a bunch of 9s. So, it is what it is. What did he say? I really did like the chorus where he was like, and the vibe is suicide, then you would push the button. But if you're bowing down, then let me do a button. It's like, I was like, yo, bro, they went off. They went off with this one. For the lyrics, I gave an S. For the instrumental, I gave an S. For the production, I gave an A. For the vibes, I gave an S. There was a lot of things they did. There was a lot of things I feel like they did across this that went well. And yeah, like he was like, if the vibe is suicide and you will push the button, he's like, I'd rather you commit suicide than like bow down. Either commit suicide or I murder you before you bow down to the government. And I was like, yo, oof. Like, that's heavy. And he's like, some speak sounds, but, or he said, some speak the sounds, but speak in silent voices. Like radio is silent, though it fills the air with noises. Its transmissions bring submissions as you mold to the unreal. And then he's like, Mad Boy grips the microphone with a fistful of steel. I was like, yo, oh my goodness, like, he's going off right now, and along with that, paired with that instrumental, that and then he goes in the. I was like, yeah, bro, this song is like the complete package. You get everything out of it. I think it was pretty hefty.
No, yeah, everything really is just like an A here.
Is it because of the highs? It can't be because of the highs now at this point. The highs shouldn't.
No.
Come on.
No, it's not necessarily the highs. I don't know what it was.
All right, fair enough.
It was weird.
Fair enough.
It's like everything is an A. Like I think everything's good. The vibes for me was a B. It could just be the way
vibe with that one.
Yeah, it could be the sound. Like, I think everything's done well, so I'm not docking points for, like, anything not being, like, did well. But it's not my favorite sounding song. It's not one that I'm too emotionally attached to. So, I'll give everything an A, except for the vibe. My vibe was a bit down for this one. It wasn't my favorite song.
I see. I could understand that.
Yeah, it could be what's going on. Yeah.
It might like tend to be annoying. I could see that. But then when it goes into that, it's still that same, but then that drum kicks in, and the bass and the like, I was like, yo, they're going off right now with this instrumental right now. They're going crazy with these. Like, it's like a real jam session happening right now in real time. Yeah, I liked it, bro. I liked it. So, off of Fistful of Steel, you know, there wasn't really much to say about that one. But like I said, this one feels like one of those where it's like the very first 5 songs are so good that, like, kind of the rest of the album may or may not take a hit for some people. But, you know, it is what it is. So our next song, number 9, is Township Rebellion. This is one of the ones that I wasn't really necessarily as fond of comparatively. And like we said, maybe because the highs of the album were so high that, like, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for these other 5 songs to be comparable.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I gave Township Rebellion A's for both, I gave them A's for lyrics, instrumental, and vibes, and I gave a B for production. It was an interesting instrumental. It was a pretty interesting instrumental. It kind of sounded like a bullfrog a little bit. I was like, and maybe the instrumental is why I gave a B for the production, or maybe it was just how the lyrics went over this beat that it was like, I don't really like the production. Mm-hmm. But I do like that little, like the cowbell in the background that you could hear. Mm-hmm. I did like that. And then they did switch instrumental. So they had literally like a beat switch between those 2 things. So I was like, all right, this is good. Like, you know what? Maybe I could give it some points back for, you know, executing the switch so effortlessly. But yeah, there wasn't much here. Nothing much more that I could say for Township Rebellion. I'm not that high on it, but still a solid track regardless.
Yeah. You're not incredibly high on it. I'm even less high on it. This was the song I was alluding to when you'd asked. Because I think I made like a throwaway comment.
This was gonna be the song that you.
Oh, this was the one you thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, I figured it was gonna be this one because I didn't like this one that much. I was like, yeah, if I don't really like this one that much, Moses definitely is probably not gonna. I thought it was either gonna be Township Rebellion or Freedom, the last 2 tracks. Either one of those.
Okay. Yeah, it was this one. Because I think I made like a throwaway like line about. Because I think it was when you were bringing up the album at the end of Breach, and you were like, he's like, yeah, this is probably like an album where like I can just listen to like the whole thing, and I'm like, I don't know about the whole thing. And you were like, what does that mean? And like, I'm like, there was really only like one song that I didn't really like mess with that much. Like even Fistful of Steel and Wake Up, I don't hate at all. They just didn't really impact me too much, but Township Rebellion, I don't hate. It's just like there was little gravity like pulling me in the other 2. There's nothing really pulling me in here. This just is not a song I vibed with. I just gave everything B's. It was just fair. Like, yeah.
That is fair.
Like I feel like we're dealing. Like I feel like he did like the fuck the norm, fight the war kind of message better in other songs.
Yes, he did, definitely. And that's why we're saying we got the highs from those other songs that, like, you know, now these last 5 are kind of suffering comparatively. Like, if he were to blend the first 5 songs into the last 5 songs somehow, some way, maybe, like, it wouldn't feel as drastic of a drop-off. But because it is the way that it is, it kind of, like, starts falling off a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, so I don't really have too much to say on this. Not my fave.
But yeah, I figured it was either going to be that one or it was going to be Township Rebellion or Freedom. And speaking of Freedom, that is the final track of Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album, Rage Against the Machine. This track, I was like, finally, we have a good outro song.
Really? You didn't like...
I was like... I was like, this is the listened to in this entire podcast where the outro wasn't bad. And I'm like, you know what? Beautiful. It broke the curse. Like, we've had every album, Bully.
Well, I did
Bully,
like this
It's
one here,
Nevermore,
to be honest.
Breach. And now this album is like finally like, all right, we have a decent outro song.
Yeah, because it's like a legitimate song.
I don't know where you stand on that, but I was like, finally, a good outro song. Finally, something good.
Finally, some good fucking food. That's Gordon Ramsay quote.
So for this song, I put a S for lyrics.
Let's go, baby.
A for instrumental.
Oh my gosh.
I gave it a P for production, or a P. I keep saying that, a P for production. It's an A for production, and a B for vibes. There was a lot that they said in this song, that, you know, I thought was good. The only thing that kind of brought it down for me was like, it was a... Not saying there's a problem with it being a 6-minute song. I have no problems with it being a 6-minute song. My problem comes in is where, like, sometimes you could feel like every bit of that 6 minutes. Like, so like when you feel the 6 minutes, it's like, all right. Like, for example, a song that's 6 minutes that doesn't feel like it's 6 minutes, Kendrick Lamar's diss to Drake. Which one was that?
Which one? Euphoria.
Oh yeah, Euphoria was 6 minutes. Yeah, it was Euphoria. It was 6 minutes long, but it didn't feel like it was.
Oh yeah, because he has like
long.
3 different beat switches in that too.
Yeah, he did have like 3 different beat switches. So like that throughout that whole song, it just felt fresh. But like that's an example of a 6-minute song that didn't feel like 6 minutes. Like you can't really feel like this was 6 minutes. Now with this song, like I said, it's good lyrics, there's good instrumental, it's good production, but the vibe kind of goes down with me because I can feel every bit of the 6 minutes. But though that's the criticism, it's still probably one of the better outros that we've had, if not the best outro that we've done on the podcast so far. So I can't even be mad about it.
No.
Stop it.
Stop it.
You're putting a breach in the contract. We aren't supposed to talk about that song anymore.
Yeah, so you want me to talk about that song Nevermore?
Yeah, never mind.
Wow, you're really bullying me, bro. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, stop. You're gonna make me rage against the machine.
Keep talking. I'll put a bullet in your head, nigga.
You're gonna put a bullet in my... This is exactly why you should know your enemy. And I'm gonna go up to him with a fistful of steel.
My 9.
With my 9. Yo, chill out, Jamal. 9.
Calm down, Zach. Don't pull out the 9.
Oh my god.
Or the 44.
Or the 44.
Bro, the sigh of relief I let out when you said that you gave lyrics an S here, because I was so scared, because I gave lyrics an S too, and I'm like, Eli's about to say that this was like some mid lyrics. I'm like, he's about to dog on these lyrics, and I'm just about to be like, I really liked it though.
Nah, this one I actually like. Bro, there's a lot of things. Like, first off, with the first line,
yeah,
there's already a bunch of wordplay. I'm a solo, or he said I'm solo. I'm a soloist on a solo list. All live, never on a floppy disk. Inca, bottle of ink. Paintings of rebellion drawn up by the thoughts I think. Like, come on! Come on! Like, he's talking to me right now. Like, he's talking to me right now. Like,
it's set up like a deck of cards, bro. Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's set up like a deck of cards. They're sending us to early graves. For all the diamonds, they'll use a pair of clubs to beat the spades? Like, come on, bro.
It's so good.
With
it's
poetry,
so good.
I think the pictures I hit, or that hit, more like the murals that fit. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, yo, these lyrics, bro, I had to give it S for the lyrics, bro. This was something that I just, I just feel like it'd be a crime not to give this an S for lyrics on this one.
Yeah, we were both neck and neck there.
Bro, he said, brother, did you forget your name? Did you lose it on the wall playing tic-tac-toe? Yo, check the diagonal. 3 brothers gone. Come on. Doesn't that make it 3 in a row? Like, come on, bro. Nah, this song, bro, lyrically, this song was hefty lyrically, bro. Like, people may not think about it at the surface, but lyrically... Yeah, this song's heavy, bro.
Yeah, there's some real good wordplay in there.
Yes, indeed. And I'm like, bro, my God. And then not to mention, he already talked about the 3 brothers previously. Or I think, he talked about, like, 3 brothers previously. Not that they got killed or went out, but he mentioned King X. And I think it was one more he spoke on.
Was it Wilson or something?
Oh, yeah, there was also the Rodney King riot. So technically 2 kings. So, like, Martin Luther.
King!
Then there's Malcolm X. And then there was Rodney King. Like, that's 3 brothers in a row. And I was just like, yo, oh, my gosh. Way to end off the album with lyrics like those. Yeah,
bro.
Gotta give it an S for that.
I was getting sick and tired of these albums just using, like, the last track as just a send-off, bro. Like, no, give me, like, another good song to end on, bro. Oh, my God. Jeez, bro. We finally got an album that had a good, solid, great opening track and a good ending track, bro. I mean, personally, I did like the ending of The Bully, that, like, this one here, that last song. I mean, I wasn't, like, head over heels in love with it, but I thought it was okay. But, yeah, I mean, this is definitely, like, the best closing track that we've heard so far. For sure.
Yeah, don't forget to give me the rest of them ratings. You gave me S for lyrics. I need to know them other ratings.
Everything else was an A.
That's fair.
What's it called?
Absolutely fair.
I could see you getting burnt out because there's nothing else, like, really lyrically once there's, like, 2.5 minutes left in the song. So you're basically listening to 2.5 minutes of the instrumental with just, like, freedom, yeah, right, freedom. Like, it gets, like, a bit repetitive. Like, there's not really anything going on for, like, the last 2.5 minutes. But I think everything that's, like, musically here just keeps me entertained enough. It is a long song. You're having your closing track actually be your longest song on the album is...
It's surprising. That's a bold move.
Yeah, that is a bold move.
But it worked, though. It definitely worked. I'd rather have this song than any other song. Like, if 9 and 10 were switched, and Freedom was 9 and Township Rebellion was 10, I think we would have, like, another one of those where it would be like, I wasn't really too high on it, but it's still better than, like, what we've heard. But, yeah, thankfully, they ended it with Freedom at 9 because, yeah, I needed them to end it with Freedom at 10. I mean, sorry. You know, yeah, this is considered one of the most prolific albums of all time. The timeless album. Like we said, they go through contents of stuff that is still relevant today, back in 1992, 34 years ago. That's still relevant to this day. And it's like, wow. Like, it's really insane to think about. But overall, this whole album, they definitely did their thing on it. It's now time for us to give out our album ratings.
Oh, gosh,
what do we feel out of 10?
Damn, I didn't even think about it.
So, out of 10, right, if I considered Mycelium Eyes a 10 out of 10, I gave Mycelium Eyes a 10 out of 10. The album was a 10 out of 10 for me. So, if I had to scale it based off of that, this album is probably like a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I feel like it's a 9 out of 10 is because so Township Rebellion kind of does kill the vibe for me. Know Your Enemy also does kind of kill the vibe for me, but they make up for it in lyrics. But I just feel like there was a lot more songs that I was well, obviously it's a longer album. If Nevermore is a longer album than Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
So obviously there was more chance for more songs, to be better. But also at the same time, there was also more chances for that album to be worse. So I'll give this one instead of a 9 out of 10, I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10, a strong 9. What are your thoughts?
Man, it would be a 10 out of 10 if it was just those first 5 songs.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Freedom. I'm going through to see which ones I liked. I mean, really, the only one I didn't mess with was Township Rebellion. 9 out of 10 is pretty good. I think I would probably just put it, like, even with songs that I'm, like, a little, less into, I think I would agree in a 9.5. I think I'll just go in a 9.5 with you, just kind of piggyback off that, just because of how high those other tracks are. They're really good.
And the lyrics throughout the entire album, monstrous content and good lyrics to speak on that content. This album is amazing, and re-listening to it over again fully it gives me an understanding of why Apple put it on their top 100 albums of all time, and also why it is widely regarded as a classic album. It's just beautiful, bro. Almost everything about this album was almost perfect. And technically, the only reason why I gave My Celia Myers a 10 out of 10, even though I really don't mess with a couple of songs that heavily, I still do listen to them from time to time. And I basically play that album front to back. So this is one of those albums that I could just go in and listen to and play it front to back. If I'm driving to school and I'm in traffic, I could toss this album on. I could toss If Nevermore on and just be like, all right, and play it while I'm driving. And that's kind of why I gave this one 9.5 as well, because I do really like it. And it is very high. It is a very highly regarded album with beautiful reasoning. We go from very visceral lyrics to an insane hard rock vibe with some of the instrumentals. We get into the greatness of vocal performances, and then there's a rap/hard rock crossover. So everything is hefty. I feel like it does what it's supposed to do. This album did what it was supposed to do in terms of its progressiveness, and it actually sat and made you think.
Even with their repetitiveness, it can be annoying. Not annoying, but it can be a little detrimental to songs, it being repetitive. And some of our ratings did reflect that. We gave some songs some lower ratings than we would have liked to, probably, then, because of how repetitive it is. But I mean, honestly, for what this album is, when you think about it, it does make sense, because this is a very protest heavy. These songs are almost just musicalized protests. And the things with protests are having quick, short, memorable chants that everyone can repeat, everyone can just say to get your point across. It's just a quick phrase to get your message conveyed. And a lot of these songs basically just feel like protests. They're very repetitive. They have a lot of small phrases that they repeat, a lot of quick things that they'll say just to hammer down ideologies. Lyric wise, it says so much even when it says so little at times. It's just a very masterful album, and the way that the rock, the metal is used throughout for probably a majority of these songs, I would say, it goes along with it so well. It maintains everything so well. It's just a really good album, dude.
Yeah, overall, it's just solid tracks indeed. That is our review of Rage Against the Machine, their self-titled album, Rage Against the Machine. And now I will give the floor to Moses to present next week's album.
All right, so last time I gave an album, Eli hated that shit. So I'm coming back with something a little better, something hopefully that something will get.
The last time you came with an album was Breach. I didn't have a huge problem with Breach.
I'm messing with you. You did give it like a 7.5 though.
I did give you a 7.5. For the record. You know what? I might. Well, what did I give Kanye? I gave Kanye like a 6.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, 7.5. I think is a huge jump. I think that's a huge jump.
True.
But no, I just want to say this for the record. So for Breach, I think I do want to revise my rating for Breach from a 7.5 to an 8 or 8.5. It has grown on me a lot. So maybe I take it from a 7.5, and for right now, I'd say that it's an 8 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10 for Breach. That song is so bad.
No matter if the rating changes, we will always hate Intentions.
Yeah, like that song is just. I don't think there is a world where, like, no matter how many times I listen to it, it'll grow on me.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my official rating change. We got to put this in the rule book of what's allowed, because maybe I was supposed to say my revision like. Oh well, no, this is the episode after.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the episode right after. So yeah, it's an episode later. I'm changing my rating from a 7.5 to an 8 for that album. I'll let Moses now take the floor so he can finish up presenting the next week's album.
So like I was saying, with the disappointment that was Breach to Eli. No, but seriously, this is another metal album. It's going to be a little different than, because we which Eli and I actually did play with the idea of maybe having an episode, maybe we would do that for like one of our special ones dedicated to just talking about like how arbitrary like music genres are and like what really are the characteristics that define music or like that hold them to like one central genre, even if they are a part of maybe a couple different genres or even subgenres too, because we went from Rage, which we both think is more metal than hard rock, but to each their own. This one is classified as metal, and Eli and I were kind of going back and forth as to like what kind of made it metal, which we'll probably maybe talk about more during the actual episode. The next album is going to be Ghost's 2022 Impera. It's their 5th album. Ghost is like Swedish. They're called like metal is what their band actual genre is considered like on their Apple Music. So they're a Swedish metal rock band. They're one that I love. They've done like a lot of music lately for horror films. Like one of like the songs in this actual album was a single for like a recent Halloween movie. So I just I love their vibe. They're actually my favorite. They're probably my favorite band as of right now. I went to watch their concert film that came out in 2024. It was great. So yeah, this was the album I chose from this artist for Eli to listen to as his first kind of introduction to this little niche, not really niche, I guess. They're pretty big now, but this little rock band I love so much. So yes, Impera will be the next album.
So yeah, so the next genre or the next episode is the album Impera. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another episode of Fathers of Taste with your two gracious hosts, Eli, and your other host, Moses.
Yo.
And we will be bringing you another episode of Fathers of Taste. See you guys.
Peace.
Peace.